Welcome to Save As Ability, a podcast to educate and inform you about disability employment issues. My name is David D'Arcangelo, and I'm your disability policy expert.
Welcome back for another episode of Save As Ability. It's David D'Arcangelo. Great to be with you. And we're going to keep our positive momentum going here through the end of the year. We did 100 episodes, a few episodes back, and we've had some great guests. I think one of our next episodes, we're going to have like a year in review type of thing, but we're finishing 2025 strong here and looking forward to a great 2026. And you can help us out by continuing to grow through subscribing, sharing, liking, commenting. All that stuff really does help keep great content flowing for you. So we're building off of a previous episode, a mention of some of the things we went over. Today, it's all about entrepreneurship for people with disabilities, and something that I'm experiencing myself as an entrepreneur of two different businesses now, two disability and certified disability-owned business enterprises. Shameless plug for Archangel Communications and Angel Buttons. But really, entrepreneurship for people with disabilities is on the rise, and it is a very viable path for individuals with disabilities to pursue. So that's what we're talking about today. So one of the things that got me going on this was the Bureau of Labor Statistics had come out with some data. I think it was maybe 4 or 5 months ago or something like that. And, having read through the report, and it's, there's a lot of information, so it takes time to digest and things like that. So as I was reflecting on it, one of the things that stood out was 1 in 4 new entrepreneurs reporting a disability in 2023. That was really that stood out to me from the report. Like, wait a minute, wow, 1 in 4. I mean, that's a lot. So we know that self-employment for individuals with disabilities is higher than individuals without disabilities, right? And we know that there's a lot of flexibility there. Barriers can be overcome there. So, but to then have it backed up by this data by the Bureau of Labor Statistics is really helpful and illuminating, and really, I think, helps put people with disabilities on a path to prosperity through becoming an entrepreneur and having your own business and being able to bring good on your talents and abilities. I mean, how many more times do we have to talk about that here on Save As Ability? You can't have a disability without first having ability. So we choose to focus on ability. And so bringing those abilities into the marketplace, whether it be goods or services for individuals with disabilities. So what do we know? We know that there's a higher self-employment rate for workers with disabilities. And we know that it's nearly twice as likely to be self-employed at 9.5% compared to those without disabilities. Reading that right out of the report. So, that's again, I think, instructive of bringing down the barriers that it takes. If employers aren't going to meet you, well, then you can make your own way and be able to overcome barriers that an employer maybe would be less inclined to do. There's an estimated 9.4 million business owners with disabilities in the United States. That represents somewhere around 27 or 28% of all entrepreneurs. And I thought that was very noteworthy. Right now, one of the things I'm trying to drill down on, and actually a future guest we're going to have, hopefully sometime in early 2026, is going to be able to tell us the nature and the size of some of these entrepreneurial organizations. I tend to think many of them are like Archangel Communications and Angel Buttons, solopreneurs, or, we bring contractors in as needed. I tend to think it's that, but I don't want to just assume that. We're pursuing data points there for you to be able to be clear on that. We do know something about the economic impact, and we've worked with some people in this before, Michelle Guillen, Dahlia Shea, they've done some great work, and others over the years that we've talked to. We know that the economic impact is an estimated $493 billion in sales and receipts. That's a 2024 number. So that's a big number. I mean, we're not talking about, in the margins here, right? So people with disabilities are contributing in a major way. And I think that's a good thing. That's important. It's important to know. Key drivers for starting the business include the desire to be flexible. We know that. We know that when you have your own thing, you can set your own schedule. The transportation is less of a barrier. You can configure your computer in the way you want and your workstation in the way you want. All those types of things, I think, lend themselves to the entrepreneurial spirit. Inclusive workplaces. However, there are some sobering things there that we've got to talk about too. All right. And again, out of the report is the revenue gap. So despite high engagement levels that we're talking about here, the businesses owned by people with disabilities report lower average annual revenues. The average there is about 61,000 less than the 135,000 reported by their non-disabled peers. So again, that data point leads me to believe that most of these organizations, most of these businesses are going to be small micro enterprises, either one or two people or something like that. And the fact that they're making like half of what non-disabled are making, that there's something to be said there too. Again, we're going to try to drill down on the data to see if we can understand that better. Okay. There's challenges, there's barriers, but let's talk about some of those before we refocus to positive. Because us here at Say Visibility, we try to focus on positive, but we've got to be sober as well and understand that there are real challenges. And one of them is access to capital. People with disabilities face difficulties when it comes to access to that capital. Matter of fact, one of the people I'm working on for a guest is started one of the first CFDI funds to be able to lend to disability-owned business enterprises. So, there's not many out there. And oftentimes, if you go to like a traditional lender, they really are not looking at the full spectrum of what that person with a disability brings. And that limits access to capital, to buy equipment, to hire staff, to, pay for the things that a growing business needs. So that's a major challenge. The fact that there's lack of tailored support with a lot of the peripherals that you have to use, whether it's some of the online tools or out of the box things or equipment that you have to buy, not all of that is inclusively designed for people with disabilities. So depending upon your prevalence type, it might not work and you've got to retrofit that. All of that can be expensive. And if you're an entrepreneur, you're bearing all the cost of that yourself. So one of the things I've floated is, if there could be a fund set up, much like we set up in Massachusetts for public entities, I think it would be totally appropriate to have a fund set up for private business to be able to fund these disabled entrepreneurs to be able to retrofit the workstations they need. Again, whether that be physical equipment, whether it be the computer, some combination thereof, I think that would go a long way to having productivity go up and having their chances for success go up. So, and then of course, there's always the stigma, the discrimination, the barriers that brings, and it is real. I'll tell you right now from talking to people, they're like, oh, well, can you handle this order? And it's like, well, what do you mean? Why can't I handle this order? But the inclination there is they think like, oh, you're a person with a disability. And by the way, I don't think most of that is malevolent. I don't. I think, matter of fact, I think it's the opposite. I think if people trying to be like too considerate in a way, and it's like, we got to try to get education up there so that people recognize that when you're hanging out your shingle, you're hanging out your business there to be able to provide the goods and services. And unless you specifically state that there's some type of limit to your order or size or whatever, others shouldn't just assume that there is there. So again, that stigma is real. We're always trying to overcome it. All right, but let's refocus to the good things that are going on. And that is things like, we've got organizations out there really trying to help pave the way. And, whether it's Disability In, as a matter of disclosure, I'm a double Dobie, certified as a disability-owned business enterprise twice over by Disability In. So whether it's organizations like that or NDI or even these now private groups that are helping to provide access to opportunities for entrepreneurs and various accelerators and things like that. So, we're going to try to have some of them on as guests here in early 2026 as we come back. So, again, I think there's opportunities there, and I do see this as a growing trend. I don't think it's going to go flat or go the other way. I think there's going to be an increase of this. So that's a good thing. That means more opportunity for people with disabilities and entrepreneurship. And at the end of the day, one of these disabled entrepreneurs, hopefully us, is going to be able to break through with the next best widget or service or product or whatever it may be. And they won't be viewed as a disabled business owner. They'll be viewed as a business owner. And oh, by the way, yeah, they have a disability, and you can talk about that because that is part of it, right? But I don't necessarily think it's going to be the lead thing. And that's a good thing, by the way, because, it's got to stand on its own. We're all for the meritocracy here. You know us at Save Visibility. So I hope this was helpful. We're going to be doing more on this in coming episodes, both with guests, both with reports and data as well. So I'm very encouraged, and I think the future is bright for entrepreneurs with disabilities. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. Let us know in the comments. Share, like, comment, subscribe. It does help us keep great content flowing for you. So it's David D'Arcangelo, another episode of Save Visibility, and I hope you have a great day.
For more information about disability employment issues, please visit our website, disabilityemploymentsolutions.com. The Save As Ability podcast is available on Apple Podcast, Spotify, our YouTube channel at Disability Policy Expert, or wherever you stream your podcasts. Subscribe, stream, rate, and review our shows. Your ratings and reviews help our show reach new audiences. Produced by Pod Pro Entertainment. Save As Ability lives within a network of podcasts located at podproentertainment.com. #TheNewRadio. Again, my name is David D'Arcangelo, and I'm your disability policy expert. Until next time, thank you. I hope you have a great day.